Quinn Law Firm is a proud supporter of Catholic education and the Erie Catholic school system.
The fury of Erie's weather is as strong as a roofer, blustering in from Lake Erie. Tools in hand, Angelo's launches into action. Angelo's Roofing does commercial, residential, and all roofing repairs. Calloused hands, strong backs, precision cuts, teamwork. Angelo's Roofing won't walk until the job is done.
Angelo's Roofing, we've got you covered. 490-8483.
Hi, I'm Jack Quinn with the Quinn Law Firm.
And I'm George Joseph, president of the Quinn Law Firm. The Quinn Law Firm has been providing quality legal services in the Erie area for over 100 years. Throughout our history, we have always had talented lawyers providing timely and effective advice for every type of legal need. It is because of the attorneys that you see on the screen that we have been able to provide trusted legal guidance for so long.
Our business comes from referrals, friends, family, and neighbors for the past 100 years and still today because of our outstanding attorneys, past and present. The Quinn Law Firm is a name that individuals and businesses in Erie have come to know and trust. Call us at 833-2222.
Or visit us at 2222 West Grandview Boulevard.
Or visit us at quinnfirm.com.
Because I remember when I first came here and people would say, you know, I went to St. Andrew's School, I went to Prep, and I went to Gannon. And you know, we have our St. Andrew's School reunion. I don't even know where my elementary classmates are. Or I haven't seen some of them since 8th grade graduation. But I think that's particular to Erie and to this area, because I've never experienced that or heard of it before. Who remembers their classmates from elementary school?
When you're friends for life, it really is hard to come up with one particular episode other than a lifetime journey.
I have very, very close friends. 3 of my very close friends that are absolute family to me, I went to school here at Blessed Sacrament with from kindergarten through 8th grade.
And believe it or not, I'm still friends with quite a few of my classmates since 3rd grade. We're still friends. We get together, you know, weekly, so it's nice.
Best man at my wedding, I met in kindergarten at Little Villa, and we still talk to, went to Prep and Penn State.
The friendships that I made is what stood out, and I can remember some of the first days meeting some of the fellas that I'm still friends with today. So we still hang out together and you know, call each other and do things.
I've known people from St. John since I was in 3-year-old preschool, and I'm still best friends with them to this day.
It's just a great place to make friends.
It's the friendships of kids that I still keep in touch with that were first grade classmates of mine.
I'm Damon Finazzo, the president of the Erie Catholic School System. I'd like to welcome you to a celebration of Catholic education. Tonight, we take a look at over 170 years of the history of Catholic elementary education here in Erie. We'll learn about Catholic elementary education in Erie and how it began and evolved. And then we'll share with you how it continues in the new Erie Catholic School System. Throughout our broadcast, we will hear from many people who've experienced Catholic education: current and former students, teachers, administrators, and parents. They will share with us their memories and the impact that Catholic education has had on their lives.
Erie wouldn't be the city it is today without Catholic education.
There's no other place that I can think of where you could start in kindergarten and go all the way to a doctorate degree in some field by staying in a Catholic school.
It is not to get them a good job. It is not to get them in the best schools. It's not about college placement. It's about getting them into heaven.
Sponsored by Quinn Law Firm and Angelo's Roofing, welcome to a celebration of Catholic education.
The Erie Catholic School System's motto is faith in our future, because we know that the lifelong friendships developed by our students, along with the lifelong lessons that our students have learned in the classrooms as young people, will impact their lives and their community long after they have moved on.
Erie's first Catholic school dates back to 1847, when St. Mary's, a German-speaking parish, opened a school for boys. Seeing a need the Sisters of St. Benedict arrived at St. Mary's to teach. Within a few years, the school had a growing co-ed population, making friendships and memories.
I thought it was a great place to go to school. Everybody in the neighborhood went there. The nice thing about it, it was close to home. Everybody was right there. We grew up with all of our classmates, and it's really nice because the way we grew up, we included everybody, and to this day, we still keep in touch.
But you know, when you get older and somebody says, you know, there was that one teacher that left that impression on you, and never forgot that. That was at St. Mary's where I experienced that. It wasn't the high school or the college, it was St. Mary's. We called him Mr. Brown. Call him Jim Brown now. Learned more from him than I would through high school and college when it came to like social studies, geography, you know, learning about the branches of government. And to this day, I still have interest in that because of what I've learned in the years he had taught.
In the 1860s, another Catholic school had opened, this time an English-speaking school, St. Patrick, and the Sisters of St. Joseph came in from Meadville to teach there. At the time, anti-Catholic hostility was growing in the United States. To counter that, efforts to preserve Catholic and ethnic European identities also took on momentum. In 1884, the Baltimore Council decreed that all parishes in the United States must open a co-ed Catholic school, a parochial school, and that Catholic parishioners send their children to their parish school.
I think we paid 25 cents a week. It was whatever we put in the collection basket. We had to bring our collection to school, and we handed it in. And we had to go to the 9 o'clock Mass. I mean, attendance was taken. So as a family, you had to go to church. So even if your family didn't want to go, I'm sure they had to go with you, because that was part of being at St. Anne's School.
Catholic immigrants from Germany, Ireland, Italy, Poland, and other areas in Europe arrived in Erie. And when they did, these immigrants founded or joined Catholic parishes and Catholic schools. By 1900, Erie had 10 parochial schools. The German St. Mary, St. Joseph, St. John, St. Michael, and Sacred Heart. The Irish schools of St. Patrick and St. Anne. The Italian St. Paul, the Polish St. Stanislaus. Right in the middle of downtown Erie was the cathedral and its school, St. Peter.
Probably the best memories that I have at Sacred Heart were the different things that we did as a group. We did plays, we did musical productions. We just had a lot of fun when we were there. And of course we learned.
Erie's parochial schools helped to preserve the ethnic heritage of so many people who had settled in Erie. They needed more teachers, sometimes bilingual ones. St. Joseph's School, which had opened in 1853, first taught classes in 2 languages.
Well, they were taught all in German, and they were taught in German up until World War I. When World War I came along, they felt that America was their home and they weren't going to show any allegiance to Germany, so they switched over. But prior to that, in the early 1900s, school was taught in the morning in German and English in the afternoon.
So in 1892, the Polish-speaking Felician Sisters came from Detroit to teach at St. Stanislaus, and then at Holy Trinity and St. Hedwig's in the early 1900s. They were joined by the Polish-speaking Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth to teach in the Polish schools, which by 1917 had expanded to include St. Casimir. Former St. Stanislaus student Daniel Wadomski recalls special moments from his Catholic elementary experience.
I think of some of the teachers and the friends. I think of first starting there in kindergarten, Mrs. Sunday. Everybody called her Mrs. Sunday because it was just easy. But some of the other teachers that we had that really taught us to have good manners, taught us to have strong faith. I had, at the time, there was lots of sisters. We had the Sisters of Nazareth, I remember Sister Rosella saying, when you receive First Holy Communion, ask Jesus into your heart. And that kind of was a powerful thing.
Today, the Erie Catholic school system has 2 schools on Erie's east side. St. James School, located on Buffalo Road, bordering the borough of Wesleyville, was founded in 1957 by Monsignor Francis Coughlin and the Sisters of the Divine Spirit. Their dedication and commitment to Catholic education continues to be a major influence even today. About 250 students currently attend St. James. We are proud of our small class sizes and big achievements. St. James students have demonstrated their pride in their school by creating the video that won first place in the WICU Erie News Now How Cool Is Your School contest in 2011. Even after more than 60 years of the founding of the home of the Panthers, St. James' motto of "We Care" continues to permeate the school day.
There's so many traditions that are just really special. The annual May crowning, going to masses together. In the 8th grade, when the students graduate, there's special songs that everyone would remember. It's called "It's Time for Moving On," and there's just not a dry eye in the gymnasium when the 8th graders sing that song. It's so special, and each year you see the 8th graders singing that song, so you know it's so important when it comes time to sing that song when you're graduating. There's an annual pinning ceremony where the 8th graders receive a special ribbon pin that they wear all week during graduation week, and just all of the special memories are so cool for me to think of, because that's what stands out. Of course, I received a great education. I was so prepared going to high school amongst my peers from especially even other schools. I was beyond prepared, but it's those extra things that really stand out in my mind. That's what makes a place like this so special, because the education is fabulous. It's so great, prepared, but all of those extras, the things that kind of go beyond the traditions, the laughs, the memories that make it, that's what makes the whole student and the whole experience, and that's something that you get at a place like this.
I've told Father McCormick many times that if they had doubled the tuition, I would have found the money to pay for it, because I was so satisfied with the education that my children got, and myself.
This school is very family oriented. Everybody knows each other, everybody helps each other out. The education is phenomenal. The things that they learn just is mind-blowing to me, that I can't help them with a lot of things that they've got taught in here. I just think the education here is just wonderful.
We always have these fun little programs and that we always do. Like for one, there's Catholic Schools Week. That's fun. We have 8th grade buddies, so that means the 1st graders and the 8th graders are paired up. So that was fun when I was in 1st grade. I'm gonna get to do that this year. The summer festivals were always fun. We've worked a booth, so there's a bunch of different things that I love about St. James that just sticks out in my mind whenever I do anything.
A lot of family ties, a lot of connections just with people knowing each other. I know a lot of people say that, it feels like family, and it's kind of cliche, but it really, truly is. All of my siblings went here. Once my husband and I had kids, we sent our 2 children here. And they're both graduated from college now, and they say the same thing. They're like, if it wasn't for St. James, they wouldn't be here. That type of, they just have that sense of, belonging, and it's definitely, a family.
By the 1920s, there were now over a dozen parochial schools in Erie. The Northwest Erie Parish St. Andrew added a school. Then another parish and school opened on Erie's east side, Holy Family. Once again, a group of sisters, this time the Slovak School of Sisters of the Third Order of St. Francis, arrived in Erie to begin their work as educators at the Holy Family Parish School. These former students recall what made Holy Family such a special place.
What I remember the most is it being a neighborhood school. Like everybody that went to school at Holy Rosary lived in the neighborhood, or everybody knew each other. We all walked to school. We went home for lunch. We were able to walk home for lunch, walk back to school. I think we got like a half hour, 45 minutes for lunch. and everybody's family knew each other. So if your parents weren't home for lunch, you went to everybody else's family's house for lunch, and it was just a big neighborhood parish, neighborhood school.
Holy Family was a wonderful experience for me. Holy Family Parish was a Slovak parish, and that's where my great-grandparents and my grandparents all belonged, and so it was part of a generation. By the time I was there, I think there was 60 years of Burtis's or Murskys in Holy Family School continuously, and so there was a proud legacy there. My aunt was the principal, Sister Colette Burtis. She became Sister Audrey. She went back to her baptismal name, and so that was hard. You know, you really had to be the example for your class, and you were held to a higher standard. But I enjoyed my time there. It truly was a family experience, and the kids that I went to school with, you know, they've done so well in life. Many of them, you know, child psychiatrist, physician's assistant. We had such a good foundation there that it was one of those things where you can't replace that foundation. If you have a solid foundation like we received at Holy Family, then the sky's the limit for you, and so I'm very grateful for that.
I think the thread for me more than anything else is service to others. It's constantly looking out for how can we make a difference in other people's lives, how can we help to make others' lives better for them, to find a need, to reach out and just help to satisfy that need, to live out our faith through being a person who sees faith not as something that's passive, but something that's very active, and we're constantly doing and helping and seeing others is more important than ourselves.
Sister Kevin was the longest serving principal at Holy Family. She came in, it was interesting because both her blood sister was the principal there when I went to school there, and then she was the principal there when I taught there. I was hired before she came on, so she was there like my second or third year. She came in as principal, and she was really somebody who just worked so hard to keep the school going, and she knew each and every family. She cared about every family, and you didn't mind working hard because you knew she was working harder than you were.
With all these parochial schools opening and growing, the need to ensure that students were receiving a top-notch education also grew. That was the project of the future Archbishop, John Mark Gannon. He became superintendent of schools in 1908, and by 1910 had standardized curriculum across the diocese.
We hope you've been enjoying and learning about the history of Catholic elementary education here in Erie. There's much more to learn and many more people to hear from. Please join us after this short break.
Hi, I'm Jack Quinn with the Quinn Law Firm.
And I'm George Joseph, president of the Quinn Law Firm. The Quinn Law Firm has been providing quality legal services in the Erie area for over 100 years. Throughout our history, we have always had talented lawyers providing timely and effective advice for every type of legal need. It is because of the attorneys that you see on the screen that we have been able to provide trusted legal guidance for so long.
Our business comes from referrals, friends, family, and neighbors for the past 100 years and still today because of our outstanding attorneys, past and present. The Quinn Law Firm is a name that individuals and businesses in Erie have come to know and trust. Call us at 833-2222.
Or visit us at 2222 West Grandview Boulevard.
Or visit us at quinnfirm.com.
The fury of Erie's weather is as strong as a roofer, blustering in from Lake Erie. Tools in hand, Angelo's launches into action. Angelo's Roofing does commercial, residential, and all roofing repairs. Calloused hands, strong backs, precision cuts, teamwork. Angelo's Roofing won't walk until the job is done.
Angelo's Roofing, we've got you covered. 490-8483.
Erie's population continued to grow in the 1920s. Parish-based Catholic schools called parochial schools grew as well. The 1920s was also a time of strong anti-Catholic discrimination across the United States. In Erie, these parishes and their schools welcomed and educated the Catholic immigrant population. and the education they offered did not remain at the elementary level. Villa Maria Academy, an all-girls school, was founded by the Sisters of St. Joseph at the turn of the century, offering education from 1st through 12th grade. Our area's all-boys high school, Cathedral Prep, was established through the efforts of Bishop Gannon in 1921. Also in the 1920s, Catholic higher education emerged in Erie. The Sisters of St. Joseph founded Villa Maria College in 1925. 1 year later, in 1926, the Sisters of Mercy started Mercyhurst College and another high school, Mercyhurst Prep School, and all girls until 1974, when it became the only co-ed Catholic high school in the area.
There is a purposeful commitment to making sure that young people understand their faith, and I think that's extremely important. There's also a purposeful dimension to make sure that students are academically prepared in all the different disciplines. And being at the high school, I'm able to see students come from all different schools, public and parochial.
Both Villa and Mercyhurst colleges played an important role in elementary education. Elementary school teachers were in high demand. These colleges provided a broad range of majors, and importantly for Catholic education, a local place to train teachers, including the sisters, who would make such a difference in their students' lives.
It's a little bit different. My parents came from Italy. They moved here. My dad was in his 40s, my mom was in her 30s, and they moved here because my dad taught at Gannon and my mom taught at Villa. So for me it was just a love. They absolutely love Catholic education, and there wasn't even a choice where I was going. And I loved the feeling of safety, and the rigor. They pushed you hard to make sure you did well, and they were all so caring. All the teachers I ever had.
The Sisters of Mercy lived right down the road on East Grandview, so we'd often knew many of them as they were teaching us. It was right at the time after the Second Vatican Council, so some of the Sisters of Mercy were making that transition from wearing a habit and their religious name to not wearing the habit and going back to their baptismal name. So we kind of walked with that, and we kind of learned how to make transitions in the church in a really smooth and respectful way.
We had a lay teacher, Miss Maidashevsky, Pat Maidashevsky, and that was so different for us back then. It stands out that all the other times we would have nuns. And Miss Maidashevsky was a young teacher, but it was so different for us that it stands out in my mind because we seemed to have more fun. We weren't quite as strict and everything as the nuns were. But the nuns did it for a good reason, because we learned respect, and we learned patience, and we learned to obey. And then Miss Maidashevsky was kind of like a little bit relaxed with that. So that's third grade stands out most of all.
So I have a lot of great memories from St. Andrews, but one that particularly sticks out is a fifth grade teacher, Miss Carol Morehouse, who is now Sister Carol Morehouse. She was the math teacher, but on Friday afternoons, we didn't do math. She taught us to play jacks. And we would sit on the floor, and Miss Morehouse would sit on the floor with us, and we would just, play the game. And it was just a fun diversion, but also a way of just really connecting and kind of growing that culture and family that we were.
Although the expansion of Catholic education declined during the Great Depression, the 1930s did see the birth of parochial athletics. To this day, athletics is a mainstay of Catholic elementary education in Erie. In 1933, Bishop John Mark Gannon established the Office of Youth Programs, which included basketball, swimming, and track at the grade school level. A decade later, in 1946, Father James Gannon became the Director of Youth Activities, a position he held while also acting as the Athletic Director of Cathedral Prep. From this vantage point, Father Gannon was able to help develop a system of strong athletics at the grade school level, that would feed into competitive programs at the Catholic high school level.
Even beyond the academics and the sports and so on, they are receiving the whole spiritual aspect and being able to, again, to freely communicate about that in the classroom, all the classrooms, not just religion, but also to celebrate Mass on a weekly basis.
St. Luke's School on East 38th Street is one of 2 East Side schools in the Erie Catholic school system. Founded by Monsignor Robert Goodall and the Sisters of Mercy in 1954, St. Luke's School serves almost 300 students in grades preschool through 8th today. The Crusaders promote service to the community with many service projects, including meals, clothing and food drives, toy and book collections, and spreading Christmas cheer by caroling around the neighborhood. Every year, St. Luke's thanks our first responders and military men and women with a Patriots' Day celebration, honoring those who put their lives on the line for us each and every day. The St. Luke's School family enjoys many traditions, like Mary's Day, Stick Ministry, the Living Stations, the Buddy Program, Mardi Gras, and Grandparents' Day. The Crusaders entered the WICU Erie News Now How Cool Is Your School contest in 2014 with a video-themed This Is Home. The students wanted to let everyone know that St. Luke's School is a second home to them, a place where everyone truly knows your name. For over 65 years, St. Luke's has remained true to Monsignor Goodall's vision of goodness, knowledge, self-discipline. Teach me, O Lord.
With my brother Stephen graduating tonight, it marks the first time since 1996 that a Shepner will not be attending St. Luke's School, which, depending on who you ask, might be a sigh of relief for every one of the teachers.
I did all-day kindergarten here, and then through 8th grade, and then it started the chain of all my siblings coming here. So there was about 22 straight years of Shepners here. My mother went here, her siblings went here. When my brother graduated 8th grade, he was the last one of us. I was the graduation speaker for that too.
St. Luke's has taught me to continue my faith in everything that I do in my daily life, whether it's at work or whether when I was in school. St. Luke's gave us the opportunity every week to attend Mass as a whole school community, and that was really important for me.
Expansion continued after the Great Depression. Blessed Sacrament School and Parish were founded in southwest Erie, the suburban and rural parishes of St. George in Kearsarge, St. Gregory in Northeast, St. John in Girard, and St. Boniface in Hammett all added schools. The missionary sisters, servants of the Holy Spirit, taught at St. John and St. Boniface. The Sisters of Mercy taught at St. George. Meanwhile, the Sisters of St. Joseph were in great demand everywhere else. Apart from their parochial teaching assignments, their independent 12th grade Villa Maria Academy had expanded so much that the elementary division became a separate school under a different administration from the high school.
Catholic Schools Week. That was the highlight of the year. We were always so excited to find out what activities our teachers would have planned for us. It wasn't always the same year to year, but that was like the special time of the year, something different because we went to Catholic schools, that we were able to celebrate our faith, our families, students, teachers, administration.
The fury of Erie's weather is as strong as a roofer, blustering in from Lake Erie. Tools in hand, Angelo's launches into action. Angelo's Roofing does commercial, residential, and all roofing repairs. Calloused hands, strong backs, precision cuts, teamwork. Angelo's Roofing won't walk until the job is done.
Angelo's Roofing. We've got you covered. 490-8483.
The 1950s saw the growth of Catholic education at its height. Schools in the city of Erie were bursting with school-age baby boomers. Catholics began moving to the suburbs. On Erie's east side, Mount Calvary Parish near Lawrence Park opened a school staffed by Benedictine sisters. A new religious order created in the Diocese of Erie itself, the Sisters of the Divine Spirit, opened the school at St. James on the border of Wesleyville. In Mill Creek, on the western side of Erie, 2 new parishes and schools opened their doors. Our Lady of Peace on West 38th Street and Our Lady's Christian School on West 6th Street was founded as the first interparochial school. It would serve the existing parish of St. Julia on Powell Avenue and the close St. Jude Parish. Finally, St. Paul Parish, closer to the center of the city, opened a new school to accommodate children of parishioners, as well as former students of St. Michael's School, which closed in 1957. The sharing of schools by different parishes, the future of Catholic education, was already apparent in the heyday of parochial schools.
What I also loved about St. Paul's, because we were small and most of us with an Italian background, my mom's from Italy, so I'm half Italian, there was this real sense of this is our community. Things that were hard, we would help each other, like learning cursive in 2nd grade. I understand some public schools don't even teach cursive anymore. How can you sign a check? I don't know. But we learned those things back at little old St. Paul's. And what the sisters did with a ruler, a piece of chalk, and a green board or a blackboard was absolutely amazing. Coming from that little school, or even from Our Lady of Peace, how many professional people, doctors, lawyers, technicians of all different shapes and sizes, come from schools where we didn't have half of what we have today.
St. Jude's School, located near 6th and Peninsula, was founded in 1959 as Our Lady's Christian by Archbishop John Mark Gannon. Since becoming part of the Erie Catholic, St. Jude unveiled a new logo depicting fire and water, symbols of its new patron saint, Jude Thaddeus. St. Jude has over 280 students in preschool through 8th grade. The school's theme, once a Raider, always a Raider, permeates through all aspects. Girls and boys soccer teams have won the diocesan championships several times in recent years. Boys and girls basketball teams have been represented in the state championship. St. Jude's has had a Challenge 24 champion, as well as representation at the Math Counts competition at Gannon University. St. Jude's Buddy program connects younger students to the older ones through mentoring and other fun activities. Alumni from St. Jude's School often find great success in high school and beyond.
My parents had 16 children. Initially, we were part of St. Andrew's Parish until 1959, when we moved from Vermont Avenue to Connecticut Drive. At that time, St. Jude's Church was in the orphanage, in the chapel. This building was just being finished. My parents were founders of St. Jude's, OLCS. They did the festivals every year with a number of other founding families back in the late 50s and up to about mid-60s, I believe. I was in the first, along with my twin sister, the first 6th grade class in 1959 here at OLCS. And 11 of my siblings were at this school from 59 to about 78.
Because all the teachers are awesome.
What do they teach you?
They just teach me reading and all that stuff. Math, religion.
What do they teach you about religion?
They teach me that God is always with us and I can always trust him, like that, stuff like that.
Well, we've seen a tremendous benefit from the things that the conversations they're able to take part in the classroom and with their teachers and other adults at school. It's really a loving, wonderful environment that they're a part of. One of the things I love most is the small class sizes, and also I feel like everyone in the school, even teachers of older grades, not only know who my children are, but they know something about them or want to tell me, a little story about something they did. So it really feels like there's a lot of people who genuinely care about your children and are really looking out for them.
In my 8th grade year, we had a cage ball game against the teachers,
and all the 8th graders brought in like their face paint and like glitter spray and all these wacky costume pieces, and we all put them together, and we all looked crazy in these costumes, but we had fun playing as a team against our teachers. We lost, but it was still fun.
Behind every new Catholic school in Erie were members of a female religious order. These sisters not only taught at the schools, they ran them, right down to cooking, cleaning, and general maintenance. The sisters were sports coaches and guidance counselors. In the area of big schools at the centers of new parishes, it was the sisters who transformed the spaces from gyms and cafeterias into places of worship.
When the sisters would come every morning in their little van, and the kids would just flock to the door to be able to carry their bags for them, that I always just remember that. You wanted to be one of the lucky ones to get to carry one of their bags to their class.
When changes to religious life and the role of women in society led to a decline in women religious in the 1960s, it is no surprise then that the Catholic schools also experienced major changes. The last 2 Catholic schools were founded in Erie's developing southeast region. St. Luke, whose parish was founded next to Mercyhurst College in 1953, was established by the Sisters of Mercy in 1955, and Our Lady of Mount Carmel in southeast Mill Creek was formed by the Sisters of the Divine Spirit from St. James in 1960. Catholic education in Erie had reached its apex in an era that was characterized primarily by change. By the 1960s, children and grandchildren of immigrants who had grown up in ethnic communities centered around their Catholic parish and school now found themselves in positions of leadership within Erie and beyond. Far from the marginalized ethnic minority population of the early 20th century, Erie Catholics had become dominant members of local society, and Catholic education played a significant role in that transformation.
I went to Catholic school like my wife all my life, all the way to my college years. When I moved to Erie, I graduated from Gannon University, and it was pretty much a definite answer on where we were going to go.
Blessed Sacrament on 26th and Green Garden is a school steeped in over 80 years of tradition. Since 1939, the Sisters of St. Joseph have formed and shaped many students into successful men and women. Over the years, Blessed Sacrament School has grown. The school campus includes an athletic field, gymnasium, a spacious cafeteria and library, science lab, and a wing for their preschool, which, by the way, won the People's Choice Award in 2019. The home of the Bulldogs is proud of their varsity boys basketball team, which traveled to the state CYO tournament 2 years in a row, winning states in 2019. At Blessed Sacrament, kindness is taught and celebrated daily. Students are encouraged to be kind and practice that kindness. During morning announcements, Principal Jane Wagner tells staff and students, "Today be the best version of you," encouraging everyone to do their very best. Students graduating from Blessed Sacrament are fully prepared academically and spiritually for their next adventure. Generations of families have been a part of Blessed Sacrament.
Well, Blessed Sacrament is very, to me anyway, has the same kind of feel that St. John's had. And that's why I think I feel so comfortable here. It has a lot of the same makeup of families and that family spirit and the students. So I would just like to have that carry on, that, you know, that spirit of pride in your school and being true to yourself and being true to where you are from.
They weren't as hard. The teachers were like really nice, and they all just like bring a nice experience to school.
Well, first thing, I remember being dropped off here very early in the morning, long before we had programs. And my favorite teacher, Sister Mary Leah, first grade, I'd be standing down in the hall in the dark, and she'd say, "Jim, is that you?" I'd say, "Yes, sister, it's me." So we'd come in, I'd help her clean up the room, and we'd straighten things up, and she really made it very special in the morning. Because at that time, like I said, we didn't have anything going on as far as preschool programs. My dad worked down at the Forge just down the street, and it made sense for him to drop us off on our way to school, on his way to work.
One of the very important lessons that we learned throughout grade school and then continuing throughout high school was just to be kind and compassionate to everyone that we encounter in life, because you never know where someone is coming from or what could be going on. So just always being open and warm and welcoming just to everyone you meet.
I like that we get to go to church like once a week, and we get the opportunity to altar serve during the weekly masses, because I've made friends from altar serving, and it's just like, that's one of my favorite parts of the week, because we get to learn something every week, and the priest is like good at explaining this stuff during the homily.
In the late 1960s, parochial schools faced financial trouble thanks to declining enrollment. Several reasons were behind this. Demographic changes, increasing tuition rates brought about in part because of the decline in the number of religious sisters, and schools now needed to pay lay teachers to replace them. Furthermore, many Catholic parents did not feel the same need to send their children to Catholic school like their parents. Public schools became a more attractive option because they had become less Protestant and more secular during the first half of the 20th century. So, Catholic schools shifted focus to providing a specifically religious education based on the moral values that could not be found in a public school. Villa Maria and Mercyhurst colleges supported this through their teaching training and educational degree programs that trained hundreds of lay teachers in Catholic educational values.
You know, we talk a great deal about faith formation, but where else can you get for 8 hours or so total faith formation in the context of a Catholic school education? It's unique. Children can go to faith formation class in their parishes, but that's a limited time. Whereas in a Catholic school, you have that 5 days a week. And we wanted to make sure that the faith was also realized within the other subjects. So there wasn't a distinction like, okay, now it's time for academics, and we forget that, and now we talk about faith, and the two have nothing in common. I think that our faith helps us to realize in the sciences, in the arts, in mathematics, that there's a prime mover that makes a difference for all of us.
The 1970s and 80s were great change in Erie's parochial schools. In the 1970s, St. Anne and St. Casimir parishes merged their schools to form Spirit of Christ. Declining enrollment, however, led to its closure in 1982. 2 years later, St. Paul and St. Hedwig also closed. The closure of St. Hedwig was partly due to the decision of the Felician Sisters to leave Erie after more than 60 years. Despite these closures, enrollments did start to stabilize, and it was clear that parochial schools still had an important role to play in Erie. Relationships and rivalries with public schools began to develop, especially through athletics, as many Catholic school teams were admitted in the PIAA in the 1970s.
Sports is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of my years at St. John's. I played basketball and soccer, and it was always a dream to play sports there. My brother and sister always played, and I was like the youngest one, ready to go, ready to play. We went to states, didn't win for basketball, but that was definitely one of the top memories. But the biggest one is 7th and 8th grade, we went to University of North Carolina for basketball camp, a team camp together. And that was one of the things that I could do with my girls, and we did pretty well down there.
The fury of Erie's weather is as strong as a roofer, blustering in from Lake Erie. Tools in hand, Angelo's launches into action. Angelo's Roofing does commercial, residential, and all roofing repairs. Calloused hands, strong backs, precision cuts, teamwork. Angelo's Roofing won't walk until the job is done.
Angelo's Roofing, we've got you covered. 490-8483.
I feel like learning the Catholic values at Mount Calvary led me into Catholic education, being able to share my faith with my students.
St. George, located on Upper Peach Street, is one of Erie Catholic's largest schools, aiming to provide academic excellence, leadership, and faith development to its almost 500 students enrolled in programs from preschool through 8th grade. St. George was founded by the Sisters of Mercy in 1944, who provided over 60 years of dedicated service. The school continually strives to replicate the vision and the mission that the Sisters of Mercy started years ago, and their dedication to the school as it evolves to the best environment for its students. St. George, home of the Lancers, ensures that students are respected, have a sense of belonging, feel safe, and most importantly, love school. The day begins and ends with prayer, and students participate in a weekly student-led liturgy, a prayer tradition started by the sisters years ago. St. George is proud of each and every one of its students, and the students we graduate each year with the confidence and readiness skills for success in high school and beyond. St. George is proud of its role in forming the future contributors for the Erie community, and feels abundantly blessed for the sisters' founding tradition of academic excellence, leadership, and faith development.
There are some, when you talk about memories, I can remember more memories. There was a priest here named Father Carter, and the masses that they used to have here, he'd come out dressed as St. Nicholas and pass out candy, and it was pandemonium in the church. But the kids were just, I mean, those are the memories that I wanted my children to have.
But I would say the most vivid memory would probably be being in Mr. Schreck's class in 6th grade at St. George, and we did a mini society unit, and my best friends and I had a business called Snacks and Shenanigans, and we had to come up with a budget and we had to make a profit. And we put the stations up in the cafeteria, and we actually ran our store, Snacks and Shenanigans, and believe it or not, we made a profit.
Faith that education that I received here, and it does hold, it drew me back, to be honest with you.
Sports, especially basketball, continued to play a major role in Catholic school athletics. Teacher Sister Ann Lewis created a lasting legacy at OLCS as basketball coach in the 70s and 80s. Sister Mary Alice, principal at Blessed Sacrament from 1980 until 1998, worked with the Ushers and Athletic Society to grow their program. When she retired, the society retired the #1 basketball jersey in her honor. In 1988, Villa Maria Academy hired a layman to coach their basketball team after he successfully led the St. Luke team to 3 state finals. Non-Catholics started sending their children to Catholic schools in the 80s and 90s, thanks to the athletics and to the Catholic educational values.
Camaraderie of a Catholic education is something too. Like as a former basketball player and football player in Catholic elementary school, and also as a coach for over 20 years of soccer. I coached girls soccer at St. George's and at Our Lady of Peace and at Villa Elementary, and there's something magical about being able to say a team prayer.
You know, my father made it a thing to make sure that it was in my tool belt, if that makes sense. The faith was in my tool belt, and I think that is something that he was given by his father that I am now giving to my kids, and I think that that's probably the most important part, is that it allows you to put in your children's toolbox. What they do with it is up to them.
My mom and dad did not get to go to Catholic school themselves, and my dad wasn't even Catholic, but my mom came from a very Catholic family. And really, she sent myself and my two siblings through Catholic school, and it was kind of, I always kind of viewed it as her gift to us.
Inner-city Catholic schools already had a long history of educating non-Catholic students from the neighborhoods. Despite that, dwindling enrollment caused some of these parochial schools to close, among them the three oldest: St. Patrick in 1990, St. Mary in 1994, Holy Trinity in 1997, St. Joseph in 2000, and St. Stanislaus in 2001. By the early 2000s, it was becoming clear that the parish-based model of Catholic elementary education was no longer feasible. In 2004, the diocese unveiled a 5-year plan that called for the closures of St. John and Gerard and Mount Calvary and the merger of Holy Rosary and St. John in Erie. St. Andrew and Sacred Heart closed in 2006 and 2007, respectively. Amid these closures was talk of a regional approach to Catholic elementary schooling. It would be difficult for some parishes to let go of the neighborhood school tradition, but it was time to look to the future.
I'm excited for 8th grade and all the fun I'm gonna have. And I'm taking 2 classes at prep in the morning because you can have the honors program where you take math and science at prep in the morning, and then all the fun stuff I'm gonna have this year.
Our Lady of Peace School, located in Mill Creek on West 38th Street near Zook Road, provides many opportunities including service projects, high-quality teaching standards, loving teachers, and a wonderful family atmosphere that includes the church and her parishioners. Led by the guidance of Reverend Richard Toohey and parochial vicar Father Mark Hoffman, students are immersed into a community filled with faith. Founded in 1957 by Monsignor James Daly and the Sisters of St. Joseph, Our Lady of Peace School continues to offer excellence in Catholic education for children in preschool through grade 8. The traditions of OLP Crusaders and the values of Catholic education are evident through these interviews.
I think the most vivid memory of Our Lady of Peace is just the teachers welcoming you when you walked into the school, whether it's the front door and into the gym. There's always someone there, and it's a lot like that today. When you enter the school, you feel welcome, whether you're a student or a parent or a coach or someone from as a visitor. So
I like going to a Catholic school because we go to church and we have sports and we have nice teachers and kids, and I have a lot of fun.
Over the next several years, the diocese undertook an in-depth study of parishes, schools, and families to determine the best way to provide successful Catholic elementary school education moving forward. The result was the Erie Catholic School System. St. John, Holy Trinity, St. Boniface, St. Peter Cathedral, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and Villa Maria Elementary all closed. Holy Family became a separate diocesan grade school, tailored to the needs of inner-city students, called Mother Teresa Academy. It is located in the former St. Peter Cathedral School building. St. Gregory in Northeast is the only parochial school left in Erie County. The Erie Catholic School System began in the 2017-18 school year and is comprised of 6 schools: Blessed Sacrament, Our Lady of Peace, St. Luke, St. James, St. George, and Our Lady Christian School, now called St. Jude.
I still have the best parts of the school. Father Jamie and I, we go to the classrooms to visit our students on a regular basis. We do all the sacramental preparation. We still meet with our principal each week, just more of an informational relationship. But we don't have to make the decisions. We don't have to attend all the meetings that exist. So that frees me up in order to be more present to the parish.
Erie Catholic operates their schools as a centrally organized school system. In fact, if Erie Catholic were a traditional school district, it would be the 3rd largest school system in the Tri-County area. Over the past 170 years, Catholic schools in Erie have demonstrated their ability to change, to rise to new challenges, and always strive to educate the whole person of every student who walks through their doors. Just look around our community. So many graduates from yesterday's Catholic schools are making a positive impact today. Just imagine what impact today's Catholic school graduates can make tomorrow.
We're fortunate here in the diocese because there's no other place that I can think of where you could start in kindergarten and go all the way to a doctorate degree in some field by staying in a Catholic school, whether it's Catholic elementary, Catholic high school, and a Catholic university. So we have a very unique situation here.
I went to St. John's, and then when we moved to the west side of town, it was St. Andrews, and then here, so yeah, it was all. Then I went to Prep and Gannon. And
Catholic education is a differentiator in terms of that value proposition, because what we can do, the one thing we can do that public schools and charter schools cannot do, is that a Catholic school can partner with a family, with mom and dad, with this one ultimate goal, and it's called eternal significance. And eternal significance is we have a role in the life of these children that are under our care. And the ultimate goal, it is not to get them a good job, it is not to get them in the best schools, it's not about college placement, it's about getting them into heaven. That's the differentiator.
But just God being at the heart of everything, and really being able to celebrate that in a Catholic school, and not just in the context of the classroom or religion class, but to incorporate God into everything, all dimension of truth.
Thank you again for joining us this evening to celebrate the history of Catholic elementary school education here in Erie. Today, all of our schools in the Erie Catholic school system strive to continue to instill in our students a strong moral character, skills for academic success, and a zeal for service to others in a welcoming, safe, and faithful environment based on the gospel values of Jesus Christ. We learn together, we pray together, and we support each other. Thank you for support of Catholic education throughout the years, and stay connected with our schools by visiting our website at eriecatholic.org, and have faith in our future.
The Quinn Law Firm is a proud supporter of Catholic education and the Erie Catholic school system. Hi, I'm Jack Quinn with the Quinn Law Firm.
And I'm George Joseph, president of the Quinn Law Firm. The Quinn Law Firm has been providing quality legal services in the Erie area for over 100 years. Throughout our history, we have always had talented lawyers providing timely and effective advice for every type of legal need. It is because of the attorneys that you see on the screen that we have been able to provide trusted legal guidance for so long.
Our business comes from referrals, friends, family, and neighbors for the past 100 years and still today because of our outstanding attorneys, past and present. The Quinn Law Firm is a name that individuals and businesses in Erie have come to know and trust. Call us at 833-2222.
Or visit us at 2222 West Grandview Boulevard.
Or visit us at quinnfirm.com.
The fury of Erie's weather is as strong as a roofer, blustering in from Lake Erie. Tools in hand, Angelo's launches into action. Angelo's Roofing does commercial, residential, and all roofing repairs. Calloused hands, strong backs, precision cuts, teamwork. Angelo's Roofing won't walk until the job is done.
Angelo's Roofing. We've got you covered. 490-8483.
I think when people are getting a Catholic education, it's important that they feel welcome, they feel like their opinions matter when they're talking in class.
I mean, you feel like you're at home, it's a family, and when you go there every day, you know you're going to learn something.
Kindness is one of the things that in the world you want sometimes.
Everyone's engaged in helping you and making you a better person.
I just kind of love how like everybody just kind of becomes one big family.